All right. So I'm here. Want to talk about Vampires Masquerade-Bloodlines 2. Uh, what the fuck? In some sense, is what I'm wondering. I understand taking your time, needing to push the game back for whatever reasons there are. That's not my issue. My issue is that we've been fed literal nothing since the gameplay reveals. We've gotten a collector's edition that of course, promote the hey, spend more money and buy this game that you're probably not sure about. We've gotten a reveal for Damsel, which cool. Like in all honesty, that's not a game seller for me. I'm not gonna go buy the game. I mean, I didn't really like Damsel that much in the first game. As she was a character, she was kind of an annoying brat to me in some ways. She was always just angry. That was her thing. So I don't really care. Uh Nines would have been cool, but I know for other reasons why. But and they also show that weird dancing trailer, whatever it is, where it's like, that was like a big trailer they were revealing, where again, it looked awkward and stilted and just weird, and it didn't it lowered my hype for the game, honestly. And so far, again, what they've been showing has been lowering my hype. Going from showing a kind of crappy gameplay that they showed last year at E3 to not showing any gameplay at all now and just showing these weird trailers. It's like, okay, either they're reworking the gameplay, they've said in developer blogs that they're reworking gameplay because of the feedback they got. So that's cool if they are doing that, but you need to show something in it. So you've already shown a crappy build. You can't go radio silence now, because now it's worrying. And all you're doing is just having people in forums and subreddits go, hey, is this game dead? Should I even be hyped for this game? And you have people on the other end who are defending you, going like, hey, wait, pushing games back is always the best for the development and whatnot. It's gonna make it a better game because you're not rushing it. You remember how the first one was? It was rushed, and I understand that. That's fine. But this game's been pushed back already twice at this point, I believe. Well, pushed back once and then silence when it was pushed back again. Uh, so it's now been just quiet. And so now going back, looking at the E3 trailer that we've seen, and I'm just gonna skip through it a little bit. The game looks good. Like, I remember the first time seeing this, I was like, oh wow, this game looks really good. Like, yeah, this is Vampires Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Like, if I wanted to thought about what it would look like, it probably looked like this. I still want third person, but I can't have everything. Anyway, atmospherically, to me, just it looks good. It's night. Like over here where my mouse is at, you can see a car driving around. That's cool. I don't know if you can drive a car in a game. That'd be cool, but probably not, since you're a vampire and you have celerity and whatnot. Anyway, it's just hub hub wise looks really cool. Looks really good. I would love to walk around and explore this place. Um, and I think, in here, going to the club, it again looks really good. I would say it could be a little darker. Clubs are pretty damn dark. Um, it's pretty bright, but whatever. I figured that'd be a chance to kind of show off a little more lighting. I think having a little darker so the lighting stands out more. But got a cool little dancing thing. He talks to his character. I know people had criticisms of her neck. I don't, whatever. It's not a big deal. Uh, I love the silent protagonist. So, like, I think no one was really shit on the game that much as far as just looking at it. I think the UI looks pretty clean. Uh, yeah, look at the crowds. Like, that looks good. Like, it's way more than I thought I would see, as far as people. Uh, you have this little Deus Ex thing where they kind of go into third person doing certain things. So yeah, I mean, it looks good. I'm not a fan of the Nosferatu. I believe it's supposed to be a Nosferatu, and they've gone from like in the first game they looked like the stereotypical Nosferatu character, within who they're named after had a more like very similar look to him, and I thought that was cool. Now I don't know how Nazis are supposed to look in the pen and paper. I assume they kind of just probably look like this or look like that. There's different varyings. I don't think there's no real understanding of how they're going to look. They're just going to be ugly in a sense, is what I'm assuming is going to happen. But yeah, so you talk to this guy, and I mean, again, this stuff here, like just the general look of the game, is cool. I love this thing. The verticality of you can like climb stuff, and now there's more to explore because you can go up. It wasn't very vertical in the first game, and just the look of this looks great. This all looks great. I think right here is where everyone got in that. Oh shit, the combat just looked weird. It just looked. To me, first person melee combat's always gonna be weird. I'm that like stuff like that is just like I'm wondering, is this game going to be mostly like magic abilities instead of like your vampire abilities, or can I play as a melee build using just my hands and using my strength to overpower people and guns? Because I remember when this game was first revealed, one thing they talked about was that guns were seen as a power up, as in you couldn't keep your weapons. You would use it, shoot it, it'd be empty, and you drop it. Now I don't know if that was changed or not, but to me that was a horrible idea. I get where they were going with it, with wanting you to feel like this powerful vampire. You yourself are the most powerful thing. This gun is just temporary. But one of the builds in the first game was weapons. You could put it into guns and just be a gun master in a sense. Uh, so like, are we just relying on vampire build? I mean, I think there should be certain different builds. Depending on, especially on the clan you are. Maybe you want to use guns and you don't want to use your vampire abilities as much. Uh, or melee weapons. Like, I understand not walking around with a big shotgun or a big old sword, but like, can I, stuff a knife in my pocket and just have a knife there for when I need it? This is another feature right here they were talking about that I thought was really cool. You can get like this kind of blood vision, and you can look, and different people have different emotions and things like that, and it changes the blood, like the color of the blood of the stream that you see in this like X-ray kind of vision, and it changes like certain buffs you'll get depending on the emotion the person is feeling when you drink their blood, which goes back to the pen and paper, and I think just kind of like vampire lore in general, where you kind of prefer people to be a certain way. You like your food to be scared, or you want them angry, stuff like that. You like a your vampire, or that vampire likes their food that way. Like, I like to scare them, and then I feed on them, and it just gives them a rush, type of deal. So that's cool. I guess your character gets a certain preference. Feeding on a certain kind of emotion. Uh, Again, the verticality is really fucking cool. I love that. It's just gonna open up more. So this is a kind of a awkward. So I'm gonna go back. This is another move they had. You can kind of glide. That's cool. Again, it's just more verticality, more feeling like a vampire. There's so this here goes a feed, and it's kind of awkward. Assuming they fixed that, but like just showing stuff like that, that's what I have to remember on Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, is that your E3 presentation was awkward as shit at times. I'm sure that could be fixed, but damn. Um, of course, you can feed on rats. Certain characters like the Ventru, it does not help. The spit it out. You couldn't feed on homeless people and shit like that. It was great. Um, Here's another. My thing that's exciting is the dialogue, man. The dialogue is a silent protagonist, lots of options, because nowadays RPGs are very much going towards the action RPG style, where they're a voice character You got 4 lines, maybe 4 options to choose from. You can't really go in depth. Whereas this, you can write a lot of lines and get your character's personality down perfect, and I love that. New Vegas did it, and I think New Vegas being before Fallout 4 was the most recent Fallout game. Going from New Vegas to the Fallout 4, it stood out harder when they ditched the whole silent protagonist and went towards a um voice protagonist, kind of going the Mass Effect route, but it wasn't as in depth as Mass Effect. Mass Effect's dialogue was still in depth, but it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of lines. So here's another death, um, like cool move he has with the bats. Um, yeah, they really went into detail with more of the vampire abilities. So there's right there, so you can pick up an M4 carbine. So using a lot more magic, or not magic, but vampire abilities. Because one of the gameplays they showed, the melee just was not good. It was awkward, and so I believe this is a more different build with it. Yeah, so yeah, right here, no reaction to getting the shit smacked out of her with a crowbar. Like the first 2 times he hits her, she just like it's like nothing. Like it's like light punches, but he smack you with a metal crowbar. I would think the first time you hit her, she would go flying like that, to really show the strength. Right there, it's just, I don't know. So yeah, now you see here, there's 10 bullets in there, and there's a little zero that I guess shows more ammo you could get. But they were saying that you would use the gun up and you would drop the gun and that was it. But maybe they've changed that. Maybe now you can carry weapons. I'm not saying it has to be like the first one where you have infinite pockets and you just have as much in the inventory as you want. No, we can go for. I like games that have limited inventory. They try to keep it realism, where it's like, hey, you can only have a pistol. You can't carry, an assault rifle around. It's just too big, type of deal. That's fine. I think there should be a place I can still store it. Let me worry about that kind of thing. Here's some gunplay. Looks fine. Like looks decent. Um, the first one's gunplay wasn't great. It's like this game is an RPG first, but he shot them. They died pretty quick. I like that. There's no bam, bam, she's dead. Bam, dead. Like look good, but there, right there, it looks like he threw the gun down once he used it. So that's what I'm talking about. It looks like once you're done with it, you throw the gun away. And I mean, I think that's kind of dumb. I think that I should be able to keep it and go to a gun store or something and buy some ammo, or like the pawn shop in the first game, because it's nighttime, so gun stores might be closed. But the pawn shop, you go to the pawn shop, buy some ammo or something. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just looking a little jank at times. There's a Nazi showing up, so he's a little different looking. So I think Nazis are gonna just have different looks overall, all ugly in some sense. But look at that, you got so much dialogue, so options to choose, and you see little options, I guess, for certain skills and abilities you can upgrade to throw into negotiation or coercion. Like you can kind of change it up so you have more skills to go from and skill checks. That's cool as shit. So I'm not fully shitting on the game, and here's some more combat, which this, yeah, it's just, so I guess he throws the Molotov at her and kind of burns himself. Here's some melee. It punches just don't really look impactful. That's I don't know if they're motion captured or not, but they should, if they can. It just feel like the enemies should kind of react a little harder to not just someone punching them, but a vampire punching them. You'd feel like it'd be heavier. But I know you're a thin blood this time, so maybe you're not fully as powerful. But my thing is wondering too: is there grabbing? Can I grab an enemy and like just throw them and like do damage that way, or is it just kind of awkward stilted punches? I would love to be able to grab an enemy and just fucking launch them across the. I don't know. So that's like your strength. I think you just activated, and it's a little more flashy. It's just, and that's gonna bother me in some ways. Is that coming out of first person? I don't know. It's just something about it. Just was not impressive. It just looked kind of eh. Of course, more choices you can get in your turn back, and for me, it just feels not doesn't really feel that didn't really sell it on me when I saw that first time. I was just like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. But at the same time, I was like, that fighting did not look fun. And I feel like if it's something I'm going to be doing a majority of the game, it has to be fun. So the developers have said that they're working on it. They're working on the combat and whatnot. But so also another thing too that I should talk about is that the E3 gameplay wasn't the developers playing it. Apparently, like it was journalists playing it. So there's VG247 that was journalists. There's a IGN one where again it's the journalist playing it. So I think this is one where it just it, it doesn't. It's I'm feeling worried. You know what I mean? Watching that stuff. So this is one where it's like the demo with the developer playing. So go, and I think that I remember watching this one and still was kind of didn't really. So here he is, like does like a blood spike. That's cool. Look, there's just it's that stuff. I don't know if they've noticed that, but it's just the way enemies or don't react to punches and hits. It's just weird. Like it's just he's completing his animation. There's no animation cut off. He's gonna do his animation whether you're punching him or not. And I think that's where the realism gets thrown out. Where it's like if you get punched in the face, like he decked him in the face, he would stop. He would stop. He'd be like, oh fuck, like it would rock him. Especially you're playing as even if you aren't a full blooded vampire right here and you're a thin blood, you still have some extra strength. So my question now comes with are you going to show something or are you going to keep peddling new like things for us to spend money on? So hey, here's the collector's edition. Y'all buy the collector's edition. And there's people pre-ordering the collector's edition that really have not seen anything. It's been a year now. We figured, some people figured that within this year, the next, E3 was canceled, obviously, but for the reasons of a global pandemic. But a virtual E3 did happen in a sense. A lot of developers got around and just made a little shows where they were going to show the stuff they wanted to show at E3 or whatever. And vampires, they fucking showed a collector's edition and like and stuff we already seen before. So then I'm just like, wow, like that's it. That's it. And there's supposed to be some more stuff coming. They saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna show some more stuff here and there. And it's just like, it's not. Why don't you just show the gameplay? Just show some gameplay. That's all we want to see. Just show something. Even if it's like a minute long, it's just like I understand wanting to take your time and read, but like, damn, y'all, you're saying the game's coming out this year. We're in July. So, there's only a couple more months in the year for either you got to tell us you're going to delay it or when it's coming out. I don't. Part of me thinks that they're waiting to see, and even that feeding animation looks off because he's not really touching the guy. His mouth wasn't on him. Anyway, maybe they're waiting to see what the hell Cyberpunk's doing. You know, because Cyberpunk got pushed again, so now it's coming out in November, where it was slated for September. So maybe they're all in the same boat. They're just trying to avoid Cyberpunk and make sure Cyberpunk. Maybe they won't reveal a release date until Cyberpunk says, "Hey, we've gone gold." CD Projekt Red's like, "Cyberpunk has gone gold. It's for sure coming out." Then they're like, "All right, y'all, we're coming out now." You know, whatever. Like, part of me was like, maybe they're gonna hit the summer, come out in the summer. That's a good time. You know, no games are around. It's a pretty well known IP. People will buy it. It's, you know, with the COVID thing, a lot of people aren't going outside as much. People will buy this game and play it. Then part of me was like, oh no, they're gonna hit a fall, you know, kind of. I don't think it'd be September because another Paradox game is coming out in September, which is Crusader Kings 3. So I don't think they're gonna try and like compete with themselves, you know, as a publisher. So part of me, you know, some people say October because of Halloween. But this game is set in like Christmas era. I mean Christmas time. I don't say era, but Christmas time. So some people say December. I feel like December is a horrible idea. Games get overlooked coming out in December. They always miss the game of the year like list or best. You know, it's just. I remember Far Cry 3 coming out in December, and which was a great game, but a lot of people didn't mention it on their game of the year lists and whatnot because people usually make those around the end of November because that's usually when the season of the AAA games and all that's over. So end of November and beginning of December, and so Far Cry 3 came out later, which is a great game. People still talk about how good that game is. And Voss is a character, but it missed a lot of those lists because it came out late. So I don't think they want to come out in December. Maybe they will, but it's just something. I get keeping it closed lip because even Cyberpunk's getting some shit because some stuff that people saw earlier in gameplay from like years ago, whatever, or last year or something, is like been taken out. Wall running is something that's gone now in Cyberpunk 2077. People were kind of like disappointed in that. Car customization is not there. Things that do naturally happen in development, like you just a feature that was either it's just not as important, so you take it out, or it just wasn't fully realized as you wanted. I get that. I get not wanting to show things because you might be taking stuff out. But damn, y'all, you need to show some damn combat some more. That's I think that this maybe they don't get, or maybe they do and they're just worried and they realize, wow, it did not get the reaction they thought it would get. But then I'm like, there's a reason why Vampires One, I think, went into third person when it did melee combat because maybe they came up with the same issue when they were trying first person melee. But around that time, first person melee wasn't really a thing. 2004, and I really can't remember many games that did first person melee. So maybe they tried it and it was like, "Ooh, we don't know what we're doing here, so we're just gonna like you're gonna go third person and do melee." But see, there, he's not really touching anyone's mouth. Yeah, I feel like you should really nail the feeding animation since you're a vampire. That's just me. Um, I just think for me, I think if I'm hitting someone with a crowbar, they should really react. I'm not saying I'm psychotic, like like just over dramatic. I'm like something like, damn, that just looks fucking weird. In a recent interview, or one of the recent interviews where they talked to developers, they said that they looked at Dishonored as a At one point, they said Dying Light, and that had me worried. Then they started saying they looked towards Dishonored as inspiration for Melee and whatnot, and I was like, yeah, that's a great game to get inspired by because Dishonored's Melee is really fun to me. I think it works. You can fight multiple enemies and it doesn't feel weird. I love it. The counter system and all that. Um, but my thing is, I think they should let you grab people. I think that's a option that should be if it's not, and if you know if it's not in the game, an option to grab enemies and just like throw them against the wall and whatnot. That's a vampire thing to do, and it looks cool, and it could do damage that way. Where I just fucking grabbing like I'm more powerful than you, and just throw them to a wall, and that like breaks every bone in their bodies, and they're gone. That'd be a cool thing to do. Um, but yeah, again, the shooting doesn't look bad. That's in my opinion, the shooting looks decent. I think it's serviceable. It's not an issue. I just knew for me playing vampires, I'm always a melee build. So that's where I'm looking towards, and I'm like, man, that looks rough because I'm usually a melee, unarmed melee kind of guy. But here we are back at this part again, um, showing some more combat. Bam, beautiful shot. It looks shotgun looks powerful. That ability looks really cool. And so in this gameplay, I think it looks a little better. Maybe just had shitty gamers, but at the same time, for me, it's just the animations and reaction that they have. The blood looks kind of weird too with the shot, but there, just they're just not reacting. Look, she got hit with a fucking crowbar, lady, and she's like acting like you're slapping her. That's just my feeling on it. Like some blood magic there. He's blood boiling, I guess. But he's just I don't know. He's just not reacting to it. That's cool. Little executions they have and stuff like that. I'm down with that shit. I just think they need to get the melee combat just looking a little tighter. And look, this isn't to say it's a complete turn off of the game for me. Uh, because again, the Elder Scrolls are some of the most popular games in the world, and the melee combat is horrible in those games. Oblivion, I don't know what's worse, Oblivion or Skyrim, but they're both pretty floaty at times. But you get lost in the world. You don't even think about that shitty melee combat. So maybe just looking at it and I have my hands on it is how I feel currently. And once I'm immersed in this world, I won't care about the melee combat. I'm hoping that's what happens. But again, your first reveal of a game that's a cult classic, beloved by a lot of people, and we thought we'd never see a sequel. For this to be the first reveal of our sequel, it's like, oh, ooh, kind of feeling. I'm still somewhat hyped for it, but I just feel, in my opinion, you should show some more stuff. You should show something. You really, quell the worrying of the fans because you haven't shown anything. You should be proud to show this. You are working on Vampires and Masquerade-Bloodlines 2. And so I just think that you should show a little more. I'm not saying give us a release date. I'm saying just show what you've been working on. Have some more blogs on like, hey, here's some animation real quick of what we're doing. Like just little 2-second videos, 3-second videos, something just showing some stuff. Give us something, feed us something. I don't care about Damsel. The Damsel's like whatever. And I don't care about the collector's edition. I can't feel justified to get your collector's edition if I think your game looks bad. Melee and combat wise. And I feel like combat is going to be a big point of the game. So that should be a tight counterpoint. That's just me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.